is the Josh Cooper emergency pre-recorded video introduction. If you're watching this, I'm either indisposed, inebriated, or dead. However, with a voice as clear and buttery as mine, an introduction is still necessary. This is an improvised comedy stream, meaning it relies on your suggestions. Please comment below any suggestions for a fairy tale that has not yet been written. Yours may be chosen to be turned into something incredible right in front of your own eyes. So go ham and enjoy. I'm going to send you a couple more takes, but I'm going to interdisperse them through this video. So if you could cut the video as it goes on, that'd be quite good. Still good. The 23rd of May. They're in date. That sounds a bit weird. Wash that down. Oh. Number 2. This is the Josh Cooper emergency pre-recorded video introduction. If you're watching this, I'm either indisposed, inebriated, or dead. However, with a voice as clear and buttery as mine, an introduction is still necessary. This is an improvised comedy stream, meaning it relies on your suggestions. Please comment below any suggestions for a fairy tale that has not yet been written. Yours may be chosen to be turned into something incredible right in front of your very eyes. So go ham and enjoy. So how many of these did you say you were needing? 15 minutes worth. I can't do 15 minutes. Fuck's sake. But yeah, there are kids in my house. A whole family of kids. Madness. Here. Alright, we'll get some B-roll for that side project of ours, the little reading project. Let's go with over here. Okay. See, these are just some nice poems, so hopefully this will make some nice little recording-y bits. Oh, here's a good one. Here's a good one. So, this is called Cow Shoes. If a field is boggy, a cow's feet go soggy. What's more, its feet get sore. Now here's some news. They've invented cow shoes. If you go to a shoe shop now, you might bump into a cow. So yeah, just roll that out. Hopefully some kids will enjoy it. Number 3. This is the Josh Cooper emergency pre-recorded video introduction. If you are watching this, I'm either indisposed, inebriated, or dead. However, with voice as clear and buttery as mine, an introduction is still necessary. This is an improvised comedy stream. It means it relies on your suggestions. Please comment below any suggestions for a fairy tale that has not yet been written. Yours may be chosen to be turned into something incredible right in front of your very eyes, so go ham and enjoy. harmonica DDLC rule 34. If you're still kind of there and listening, like if you get to this point of the video, I don't know if you're kind of watching this all through. Just between you and me, this is secret question. Should I get Tinder? I feel like I'm getting more kind of lonely in myself. Like I mean, I don't know how that's the kind of, I don't know, the story, but like, I mean, do you think I'd fit in that scene? I mean, I've usually met all of my partners, like, organically. I don't know if the artificial approach would be better for me. I should do another take. Hang on. This is number 4. This is the Josh Cooper emergency pre-recorded video introduction. If you're watching this video, it means I'm either indisposed, inebriated, or dead. However, with a voice as clear and buttery as mine, an introduction is still necessary. This is an improvised comedy stream. It relies on your suggestions. Please comment below any suggestions for a fairy tale that has not yet been written. Yours may be chosen to be turned into something incredible, right in front of your very eyes. So go ham and enjoy.
They won't be able to see you. Hello, all 9 people who are currently watching. That is a large number. We are live and we are doing Cast v Crew v Lockdown featuring Longboy and... and Matt's vanished from my screen, which is always a good start. Matt, where have you gone?
Still here. That's alright. Keep going.
Okay, no, we're all live. Everyone can hear everyone right now. I should have warned you.
Hello.
I'm going to try and figure out where Matt's gone. So, basically, hello everyone. This is the group that is performing before you today. We have me, Martin. Below me on screen is Josh. In the bottom left or right hand corner is Mary. Matt is currently the Skype logo, and Longboy the Noise, Joe and Gaz are in the middle. Thank you all for waving. Okay, I'm going to take them back off the screen and go back to just me because I am narcissistic. Hello everyone and welcome to my stream. This is my stream now. Matt is yelling no in my ear really loudly. Talia says pick me. Oh no, that's not on the stream, that's something else. That was confusing. Okay, back to the live stream. Hello. Okay, so before you can see a stream overlay. In the top left hand corner you can see the label for cast. No, that's right, Martin. There we go. There you go. This is the right way around. This is the cast label and this side is crew. This will let you know who is performing for which team. I'll get to that in a minute. I'm Martin. That's what it says on the screen right now. So this flashy overlay was made by my sister Grace Appleby, just to thank her at the beginning of the stream. What looks like a stop clock in the middle of the screen is our scoreboard, and it will let you know who is winning at any given time. Currently it is 0-0 because nobody has won any rounds. What will happen during the stream is that you will be given the opportunity to vote on who you think should win each round. So what's going to happen is on the left hand side is going to be somebody from Team Cast, on the right hand side is going to be someone from Team Crew, and they're going to tell you a fairy tale in 3 minutes. Except Team Cast are going to start telling you a fairy tale, and Team Crew are going to interrupt them like we do on our normal show format. If you haven't seen it, they'll hold up a toy, kind of like this hedgehog, and they will input a twist into the story. Then Team Cast will have to try and work it in and get to the end of the story within 3 minutes. And then the new twist is we're going to flip it. So then Team Crew are going to try and tell a story, while Team Cast get to interrupt them and add their own twists. And at the end of that, you get to vote on who won that round. I hope that's clear, because it's kind of a lot of things to take in at once. So we'll go back to the group. Here's everyone again. So these are the people who are going to be performing for you this evening. So we are going to jump right in. First have...
Oh, yes, hello.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Oh, you couldn't hear us. No, I'm just going to say thank you for explaining the concept of nil.
Cool. Okay, Martin is our fairy tale. Oh, you good? Okay. Martin is our fairy tale, and we are performing The Boy Who Cried Duck. Okay, so once upon a time, there was a little boy who lived in a town by the mountains, and one day he decided that he would go out for a walk into the nearby woods. So off he went his little knapsack with some snacks for the road, and he set off down the path into the woods. And as he was walking along, he saw various woodland animals. There were some squirrels running about through the trees, and little birds flitting through the streams of sunlight that were pouring into the leaves.
And a rabbit bear.
And a rabbit bear. The boy was quite terrified. So he turned tail and he ran back to his village, screaming about this bear, and the bear was chasing after them rocks and twig that it had found in the forest. So the boy, the hands on his head, to the village, yelling, "Duck, everyone, duck!" And all the villagers were very confused about where the ducks were, because they lived in the mountains, and there was
Wait, several other reasons to duck that were better than a rabid bear.
There were several other reasons, such as all the low-hanging signs for all the various shops in the village, and the fact that the mountain wasn't particularly stable and occasionally rained down. Sorry. Cool. So the villagers were not particularly concerned about the rabbit bear. None of them had seen, because they were all down the far end of the village and not particularly near the bear. So the boy was desperately trying to herd people back inside, ram all the children that were playing in the streets into the nearest tavern. But nobody seemed particularly bothered. They were all going about their day, avoiding all the low-hanging signs and bits of rubble that were a regular part of their day. And the bear began rampaging through the village, smashing windows and being rabid everywhere. I don't really know what rabid bears do. And the villagers were still not particularly perplexed. They were just going about their days, and the boy was yelling, "Everybody duck!" not realising that everybody was not particularly concerned and not aware of the bear. And so the boy started lobbing things at people's heads as well, in an attempt to get them to duck. Yes.
And picked up a genuine duck.
The boy picked up a duck and was so shocked that he yelled duck, and somehow everybody was so shocked by the duck that they stopped. And the bear ran away, and they all lived happily ever after.
Hey!
Hey everyone. Okay, so that was Mary's rendition of The Boy Who Cried Duck. I'm really sorry about the sound problems. I am going to have a go at fixing them, so we're going to put on a little bit of a recording that Josh recorded, which you may have witnessed if you had joined the stream earlier, but will now witness it. Because you did it earlier.
This is the Josh Cooper emergency pre-recorded video introduction. If you are watching this, I'm either indisposed, inebriated, or dead. However, With a voice as clear and buttery as mine, an introduction is still necessary. This is an improvised comedy stream, meaning it relies on your suggestions. Please comment below any suggestions for a fairy tale that had not yet been written. Yours may be chosen to be turned into something incredible right in front of your own eyes. So go ham and enjoy. I'm going to send you a couple more takes, but I'm going to interdisperse them through this video. So if you could cut the video as it goes on, that'd be quite good.
Round. Hey everyone, we're back. I'm just muting literally everybody on our Skype call here, and going to try playing it through my desktop audio. So everyone say hey.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
Hey, anyone watching, can you let me know if that sounds stupidly echoey? We're going to have to wait a few seconds because of the delay lag to find out if this is what's happening. Apologies for that.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
We are working. We are trying. We're new to this. Is it obvious? So everyone say hey.
Hey.
Hello. Hey.
Sounds good, Martin.
Awesome. Okay, I think we've got rid of the echo.
Brilliant.
The sound it stops being well balanced from this. Apologies to Mary for skipping past her story. Okay, so Josh and Mary, you're still up. Josh is now telling the story. And the next suggestion is for Josh, The Fiddle That Diddled.
The Fiddle That Diddled. There was once a musician, well renowned for the land for being one of the best fiddlers in the world, a true virtuoso, a master of his craft. But there was just one problem with him. He could never find an instrument that would reflect his true craftsmanship. He thought about it day and night. He thought, I must find the best fiddle in the land. Not just that plays with my heart, that plays with its own. And so, he travelled along far and wide until eventually he reached a clearing in a forest where all of a sudden an old man appeared from a hollow in a tree. And he said, You've wandered all this way, child. Perhaps I can interest you in a little of my own creation.
It was a saxophone.
And the maestro said, Oh, you take me for a fool, sir. I know that this is no string instrument. I have played in many orchestras, but the old man was sly and he said, Oh no, this instrument is a fiddle, except for those who do not know what music is when they see a saxophone. Well, the virtuoso was outraged. He said, How dare you say that I am not good at my instrument? I'm the best in the land. Kings and queens have cried at my performances. Millions of people in droves throw flowers at me every day. I see the fiddle. I see the fiddle just in the same way that anyone else sees the fiddle. And he took it, the saxophone, as we all know, and he stormed back off to the village to perform in his concert. There, he arrived at the orchestra and the conductor looked very concerned. He said, Now, virtuoso, I haven't given you a name, but I refuse to. I am your master. Tell me, why is it that you are holding a saxophone? And the fiddler replies, This is no saxophone. This is a fiddle. A fiddle, except for those who do not know how to play a fiddle. And the conductor said, Very well.
And fired him from the orchestra.
And therefore, also learns a very valuable lesson of not to claim that something is what it isn't, and they all lived happily ever after.
There we go. I think people can still hear me. So what's going to happen now? We're going to open a poll on who wins this round. Team cast or team crew. It should be on your screens now. If you can't see a poll, feel free to comment below and let us know who you think won, Mary or Josh. And be kind to Mary, because the technical difficulties were my fault and I'm team crew.
And be kind to me, because it's good to be kind.
Yeah, be kind to Josh. Josh is on my team. The scoreboard hasn't gone on. Why hasn't it gone on? There we are. It is the scoreboard. There we go. Hopefully people can hear me still, and now nobody else. This is the Martin stream. Grace says there's no poll. Sometimes people can't see polls, and I'm not 100% sure why. It should be at the bottom of your screen. If you're watching via a computer, it should definitely be there. But if you're watching through other means, you may not be able to. So I'm going to keep that open for...
On mobile, there's sometimes a little purple button next to the emojis.
It should be a little purple button next to the emojis, said Mary. I think this is coming through my mic rather than the call. It's definitely not going to confuse anything. If you can hear me twice, it might be because it's decided there's two of my mics. Cool, my sister now has the poll. Okay, we're going to leave that open for a little bit longer. Wow, 6 votes, that was quick. 6 out of 9 people is pretty good for a poll.
Not bad, not bad.
Okay, and so the winner of this round was Team Cast by 4-2. Well done.
Nice.
Mary, nice.
Nice one, Mary.
The Team Cast win round 1. Okay,
Well played.
Next, we have... Oh, me. Sorry, guys, you've got to listen to me for a bit longer. So that's me and Joe. I think I'm doing Joe. I should have muted Joe.
Hello.
Good. Hello. So people should be able to hear me and Joe through the desktop audio. Hopefully this is not going too wrong. Oh, somebody changed their vote just before I closed the poll. I'm not counting it though, because I already clicked close. I'm sorry to whoever that was. It was 3-3, it was even.
Oh, dang, literally 50-50. Well played.
Yeah, I should
Well done, Josh.
let
Well
people
done,
be able to
also.
see Joe. That would really be helpful right now. What am I doing? I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, Joe looks right moody in his picture.
Okay, there's Joe. Alright, Joe, your suggestion is Jack and the Runner Bean Marathon. Okay,
Okay,
I
so,
lost the timer.
okay.
Good start. Right, 1 second, folks. Let's put the timer back on the screen. There we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
There's a guy named Jack, and he likes running. He did the couch to 5k, and he was continuing to do other various app-based running exercises. And one day he finds an old man without arms, legs, or a head on the side of the road, and the old man uses the opening at the top of his torso and says, "Hello."
I used to be the world record runner bean marathon holder.
And yeah, that's what he says. And Jack goes, "I'm not sure if that makes sense grammatically as a sentence." And the old man goes, "I don't have a head." And Jack goes, "I'm not sure how that's relevant." And he goes, "Take these beans, you rude word." And then he throws the beans at him. And Jack sort of grabs all the beans and goes, "Oh, whatever," and then he keeps running. And then he gets home and he goes, "Well, you know what? We're all in lockdown at the moment, so I'll plant the beans." And he everyone's getting into gardening, so he plants the beans and he leaves them out in the sun and he goes to sleep. And in the morning, he wakes up and
The beans have grown into a giant badger.
the beans have grown into a giant badger. And he
30
goes,
seconds.
What's this? And the badger goes, "I am the spirit of Usain Bolt, the fastest runner alive." And Jack goes, "What?" And he goes, listen, do you want to learn how to run for the Runabee Marathon, or do you want to sit here, sat on our hands, chatting about what's what? And he goes, well, obviously I want to learn how to run. And the badger goes, right, so stop asking questions, run, or I'll hit you with this very big stick. And he pulls out this big stick, and it's got a badger's head, sort of, yeah.
And he hits Jack with it.
And he hits him with it. And the problem is Jack hadn't run, and it hits him in the legs, and it breaks both of his legs. And he's in hospital when the marathon happens. And the badger turns up to the hospital and goes, that'll teach you. And Jack will go, teach me what? I don't know what the lesson was. And the badger slowly backs out of the room going, yeah, that'll teach you. You'll know now. Yeah.
And elsewhere, the elderly man with no arms and no legs won the Runabee Marathon.
He did. He ran it. He managed to get full cybernetic armor, and he won the race. And it just goes to show, if you throw beans at a man, you'll win at sport.
Is that the moral you're going with?
That's the moral I'm going. I'm sticking with that one.
Cool. Well, there's 10 seconds left, but I think that's
okay. Also, epilogue: the badger killed everyone.
Good. I feel like I should have added something in there as a distraction, but you did it yourself.
Own story.
We'll see how the score goes. Then we'll see whose tank won.
Just to remind everyone, this is what the score is right now. It's 1-0, and it's currently me and Jack. I don't think I can top that. Right, next up we have... I can't reach the suggestions. The suggestions are in a lovely big red hat. The Princess and the Flea.
Nice.
Okay, I'm going to count myself in. 3, 2, 1, go. Once upon a time, there was a princess in a kingdom far, far, far away. And she owned many a pet animal. Many, many, many pets. Dogs, cats.
I would just like you to keep listing as many of them as you can.
Giraffes, elephants, turtles, some fish, one porcupine, lots of pangolins. We like pangolins. A few hedgehogs. And everybody knows that hedgehogs, specifically hedgehogs, are prone to fleas and ticks. And unfortunately, one hedgehog that the princess rescued from her castle garden had fleas, and she didn't know. Late in the night, while the hedgehog was going about its business, sorry, yes, Joe.
His business was plotting the princess's demise.
So it was an evil hedgehog, and the hedgehog tried to seek revenge on this princess for building on its homeland and not making enough hedgehog highways for it to travel around the kingdom. And so it decided blood its revenge, and part of its revenge was bringing in these fleas. And so it released the fleas into the castle. The next morning the princess awoke, and everybody in her kingdom was itchy, and they didn't know why.
The fleas had unionized.
Unfortunately, the itching didn't last long, and the hedgehog, confused, went to the head flea and was like, dude, what up? And the head flea was like, I'm sorry, we don't like the working conditions, the fact that you aren't paying us and we don't get any holiday or any benefits. To be honest, we're only here to fight people and then die, and that's not very pleasant for us fleas. So we're forming a union, and unless you give us our workers' rights, we're going on strike. And evil hedgehog didn't like this. He was like, fine, I have an even eviler plan in my back pocket. And he pulled off of his back
a new right-wing newspaper.
Yes, I will publish my terrible stories about the princess, and it will ruin her reputation. 30 seconds left. Unfortunately for this princess, fortunately for this princess, it was a very left-wing kingdom, and so they didn't read the right-wing press, so the hedgehog was thwarted again. And at this point, the fleas were so sick that they started rioting against the hedgehog and chased it out of the kingdom. leaving just the princess and no itchiness. And the princess was so happy and realised that these fleas had done a good thing that she promoted them to royal guard. And they all lived happily ever after in a kingdom protected by fleas.
What a wild ride!
Oh boy, that was tough. Alright, okay, we're going back to the scoreboard. So that was, I've forgotten the stories already. Princess and the Flea and Jack and the Runner Bean Marathon. So we're reopening the poll. Your previous vote will still be on it, but you are able to change your vote to whichever team you think won this round. So that should be on your screens now, if not soon. Yeah, please revote if you are able. I'm hoping this works. I've not actually tried reopening a poll live before, so this will be an interesting test. I think everyone on the internet can hear everyone in the call as well.
Ooh,
Guys, did you enjoy those stories?
Yeah.
Yeah, massive kudos to both of you.
Mm.
So
I really enjoyed my story.
this was great. I love Jack and the Runner Bean Marathon. I'm sorry that I gave you.
This is a competition. I'm not here for second prize.
Okay, so there are 9 people watching now. Hello to all 9 of you, and the votes are in as they haven't changed in a little bit. Oh, they're changing. They're changing. Okay, I'm calling it here. I'm calling it here because it means that I won, Joe.
Oh, did crew win?
4-2.
Yes. Bring it home, Martin.
Yes,
Martin.
I'm exclaiming on screen. Nobody can see it. This is disappointing.
It's killing me on Team Crew.
Rigged.
Oof.
Goddamn rigged.
You guys can't see the poll as you're watching the stream. You have no idea what I'm doing. All right.
You could be lying. You could.
Am I lying? Am I? Okay, I think everyone can be seen on the screen right now. We're going to do that while I figure out who's meant to be talking next. Okay, so up next is Matt and Gaz.
Yeah.
So up first will be Matt telling the story and Gaz doing the suggestions. And excuse my pronunciation of this word because I'm terrible. The next suggestion is the prodigal goat. As in the prodigal son. Am I saying that correctly? Who knows?
Yes, but yet you mispronounced the word pronunciation.
Only I can stream like me. Okay, so I'm gonna put you guys on. I've lost the timer in every single scene. God, I'm gonna fix this while you guys are talking, and I will definitely remember to do time prompts. Okay, so right, we're gonna transition over to you guys now. So it should just be Matt and Gaz on the screen, and hopefully people can hear them. Okay, Matt, when you are ready, putting the timer on. 3, 2, 1, go!
So, once upon a time, there was a family of goats who lived in the Highland Hills of a mystical faraway land. And one day, their youngest son reached the coming of age that is a goat's age. I don't know what goat age is equivalent to. Yes.
88.
88 years of age, a great long beard pooling onto the floor around him, finally thought, it's time I became a man goat. And this goat journeyed out. He took a little sack on his back, which was strapped by a clever leather harness, and journeyed out into the lower lands to find out what life was all about. Every single goat had to go through this rite of passage at the age of 88. Now, he was wandering through the lower foothills, approaching the sort of marshy waterlands, when he came across a farmer who was stuck up to his waist in a rice paddy field. And the farmer was calling out for help, but alas, no one could hear him because this was the most rice anyone had ever had in their mouth.
in living history.
The farmer had attempted to eat his way out of this paddy field. His mouth was full, right? He turned to the goat and he said, "Oh," and the goat replied, "I'm terribly sorry. There's just so much rice in your mouth. I had no idea." No, I'm seriously, I can't hear what you're saying. I'm dreadfully sorry. Well, I'd imagine if there was less rice in your mouth, this wouldn't be a problem. Let me help you with that. And so, a little bit of engineering later, and the goat had rigged up a kind of a harness, a mount, and he lassoed the farmer and was pulling the farmer out. And the farmer then vomited rice, more rice than anyone's ever had in their mouth, everywhere. And of course, got down on his knees and professed his unfound gratitude to this goat, saying, "Thank you so much for helping me." And yes.
Immediately fell in love with the goat.
Smitten was this farmer. This farmer was a very lonely, yes.
Sexually smitten.
This farmer
5 seconds.
fell completely in love in every single conceivable way with this goat, and he was a very lonely man, this poor farmer. No partner, no children. He said, "Won't you come and live with me?" And the goat said, "Oh my goodness, oh yes."
Live with me and have sex.
The goat says, "I'm assuming this will be a sexual relationship." And the farmer said, "Absolutely yes, as it'll be a loving sexual and emotional relationship." And the billy goat says, "Well, I don't see why not. Honestly, I came out to become a man goat, and I suppose this is what it is." And so they journeyed back to this farmer's farmhouse and lived out the rest of their combined life, which, given that the goat was 88 years old, wasn't much. Yeah, and they all lived happily ever after.
Great. Good job, Matt.
I think sexually smitten may be my new favourite phrase.
This isn't a Christian server, is it? This isn't like a family-friendly under 18.
My favourite part was that the billy goat sounded like Boris Johnson.
Oh dear.
He did. Okay, right. So next up we have Gaz telling the story, and Matt providing twists and suggestions. Okay, Gaz, your story is Cinderella. It's in hell, and the prince is Satan.
Cool. Good to know. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get you ready. Okay, when you're ready, 3, 2, 1, go.
Once upon a time, in a kingdom far, far underground in hell, the king of hell was dying, and he was holding the hand of his one daughter, Jemima, and he was saying, "Jemima, I fade, and soon you'll become the..." Yes?
Soon you'll become the princess. Please sort out the plumbing before I go.
Yes, he said, "Please sort out the plumbing. We only get hot water in hell. Sometimes you want a nice cold glass of water. I'm sick of this warm water. It's bad for my bowels. That's why I'm dying of dysentery." And with that, he went black and died. And she thought to herself, Jemima, she thought, "Well, I'm the queen now, so I need to sort out the plumbing." So she got on the phone, and she got quite bad signal because it was hell, but eventually got through. And the plumber said, "What?" And because the plumber's an old crone. Yes.
An old crone who is also Mario.
Yeah. So he said, "Wow, woo, what do you want? Woo!" And he hopped down the pipe to hell, and he came right on in with his little hat on. And Jemima said, "Thank God you're here. We can only get hot water." And he said, "Mamma mia, are you the princess I'm looking for?" Right. And she said,
30.
"Yes, but I will marry you if you can get cold water in hell." And he went, "Oh, that's a job for me, Mario." So he shot back up the pipe, and he went to the coldest lake he could find, and he built one big long pipe, and it went all the way down to hell, up toilet, into tap, and came out when she turned it on. And she went, "Mario, that's amazing. Will you be my Prince of Darkness and live with me?" Yeah.
Unfortunately, the lake was also filled with sharks, which were now popping out of all the toilets in hell.
1 minute left.
Which meant that there were lots of wedding guests for the beautiful wedding between Jemima and Mario, or the Princess and Prince of Darkness, as they will now be known. And all the sharks went, "Wah!" and then died because it was very warm. And they ate lots of shark for their wedding meal. And Jemima found that her skin was much less red and flushed because she was able to bathe in much cooler water. And very less members of her family were dying of chronic diarrhea because they could drink cold water. And Mario's brother Luigi was his best man, and he said, "Oh, what? It's me, Luigi!" And Mario said, "I know, way!" And they had lots of small children, all with a different coloured hat with their initial on. And Jemima was so grateful that, having sorted the plumbing out, she'd also sorted out the plumbing of her love life.
Oh, no.
We're gonna move on from this really quickly. Okay, here's the group. Then I'm gonna go to the scoreboard. Okay, you know the deal by now. I'm gonna put a poll on the screen. Who wins this round? Mal Gas, Team Gas or Team Crew? I should have put who in that. My bad. Okay, anyway, we're going to address some comments while the poll is on the screen, and just move straight past that. Okay, so Steve says, "So much killing in these stories. Hashtag justice for Goldilocks. Hashtag no luck catching them cowboys then."
Yeah.
Yorn, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Yorn.
Yorn. Oh, hello, Yorn.
He
Look
says,
at that.
"Woo, Matthew!"
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, hello, Yorn. Good to see you. Thank you.
And Ellie says these just keep getting more and more odd.
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong. And some people love pangolins. Okay, so we have 4 votes in. There are currently 9 people watching, so I'll give them a bit more time to vote. In case they're thinking. I feel like I was going to say we need elevator music, but hopefully the Caspi crew music is still playing in the background. God knows if it is. At this point, I lost track. I think it's playing now. I think I just forcibly restarted it. Okay, so I think that's been open for long enough. Close results. Show results in video. There we are. Okay, we have... Oh, Gaz got 3 votes. Matt got 1. So
Oh no!
this round as well. I like this format.
Oh, Drew, I'm smashing
chance
it.
for change. Right, 2. It was 3-1 to Gaz, which is good. Okay, so we're going back to the group round. Hello everyone, you're all back on screen.
Hello.
I've also started getting genres for a game we're playing later in the show that I realise only Matt knows about. So that'll be interesting when that comes around. Okay.
We might not need it. I think we should use it as a tiebreaker, but at this rate, I don't think we're going to need it.
I'll be fine. Okay, so up next we have Joe v. Josh.
Oh God.
Joe is talking first because he is Team Cast. I'm going to get their lovely pictures up on the screen. There they are. Okay, so Joe, your suggestion for a story, which is one of my favourite ones in the pile, The Very Hungry Catamaran. Okay, I'm going to get you guys up on the screen. Okay, so Joe, when you are ready, 3, 2, 1, go.
So there once was a catamaran, which, as we all know, is a kind of boat. And it was sailing happily along the lake in the middle of Japan. And it saw a boat filled with wonderful fruit. And it went, I may just be a boat, yes.
But I can mate and love.
And so the hungry catamaran, hungry with its loins, went over to the fruit boat, who was not sentient, but was just a boat. And it mounted the boat. And the sailor was knocked unconscious through the thrusting of the bow of the boat. And the fruit all fell into the water. And the catamaran, yep,
just became even more hungry.
it became even more hungry, and it saw a cruise liner on the lake, and it went, you know what? I have a heart big enough to love more than one boat. I will go
and share my heart with this boat and other things too.
And so the catamaran went on a spree, making love to things on the lake and off. Living creatures from the zoo, a banana stand, a hot dog, a small poodle. And it went further and further through the Japanese village, and eventually the Japanese people said, we must end this horrendous attack from the catamaran. And so they all got together, and they all chipped in, and they bought a gun.
1 minute.
And the most prevalent hunter, a small baby boy called Huey, and his two brothers, Dewey and Clyde. Yeah.
The gun was so big that they had to lift it with the help of one more person.
And that person was Kevin Spacey.
30 seconds.
And the catamaran was shot to death. Kevin was arrested. And Huey, Dewey, and Louie were commemorated with a statue, and everyone pretended it was only the three of them that did it.
3, 2.
I meant Kevin Bacon. Just say Kevin Bacon.
You'll really think twice before asking us on again.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so up next, moving swiftly onwards, we have Josh telling the story, and
How
Joe.
do I follow that?
You've also got a really hard suggestion, and I thought about changing it, but I already, biased the call against Mary, so I'll bias it against you now. Your story suggestion is 3 average-sized cows. Okay, when you're ready, 3, 2, 1, go!
There were once 3 cows. 1 average size, 1 average size, and 1 average size.
And additionally, there was a pig named Philip.
Philip felt a bit ostracized from the group. Not because he was a pig, but because he was very small. Small enough to have the prefix micro attached to his name. The micro pig spent his many days trying to eat the bales of hay kept up on the shelves that the average kite cows ate, but the micro pig couldn't reach.
Due to the fact he was blind.
He lost his sight many years ago in a horrible accident, which hurt the cow's knees, but took out Philip's eyes.
2 minutes.
The average-sized cows often helped Philip see around the field, but Philip still felt a little bit alienated when they played average-sized games, like football, where Philip was the ball. The farmer saw that Philip was upset, and he thought, I'm going
To let that continue to happen, because God, it makes me happy.
And he went back inside and nothing more was said on the matter. Until there was a knock on the farmer's door. It was the micro-abuse social services. And they said, we're here
To shoot you with guns.
And they did.
1 minute.
The average cows and Philip held a sad memorial. And Philip found his true calling in life, giving eulogies.
At the funerals of very unlikable people.
And so he tried to apply for many jobs on Craigslist. And would you know, the market for eulogies for unlikable people is huge. And the 3 average-sized cows found their calling in life too, because they'd always wanted to drive cars. And now that Philip needed to get to potential contractor locations, they had an excuse to go and get their driving license. And ever since that day, the 3 average-sized cows and little micro pig Philip have never been happier. And if you go down to the church this Sunday,
2,
you might notice
1.
a little micro pig eulogy.
Hey!
That was great. I'm going back to the scoreboard. I'm hoping everyone can still hear everyone. They should be able to because my desktop audio is up. Okay, the poll should now be live. Vote for who you think won that round, Joe or Josh, Team Cast or Team Crew. Okay, we have a couple of more comments that I probably should have read out before and I forgot. So Nina says in response to the Very Hungry Catamaran, this is just softcore porn now.
Yeah, sorry about that.
And Grace says, what happened to Clive?
Yeah, you said Huey, Dewey, and Clive.
Oh, Clive went away.
Oh no.
He had some ethical issues with his partners.
So they just got Louis in.
This is not good. Okay, so we still have 8 people watching, so thank you all for tuning in. If you've just tuned in and are absolutely confused about what we're doing, we are doing a live stream improv show where we each take it in turns telling a fairy tale that the audience have suggested and made up. And I swear they were all suggested, and I did painstakingly write down all of Nina's 20-odd suggestions on paper for this show. Okay, so the poll is open. I never said I didn't like it. Nina says I never said I didn't like it in regards to the story with the Very Hungry Catamaran. Okay, so there are 7 people watching. The poll's been open for a little while, so I'll close it in a second. Again, I keep forgetting like we need background music, and then I remember that the audience can hear the background music, and we
contracted background music specifically for Munro.
Thank you for Mary's brother, Munro Ashton, for the background music. It's epic. You can probably hear it. It might even be so loud that you can't hear us. Who knows? I definitely audio check the stream properly before starting. All right, I'm closing the poll now.
Oh, it's the waiting that gets you.
Yeah. Okay. So it is a landslide. 3-0. Because 6 people didn't vote. Shame on you, 6 people. And the winner of this round is... I'm going to put everyone on the screen so you can see Joe and John looking panicked.
Who is it, Martin? Who is it?
It's Josh with Team Crew!
Oh! Yay!
Josh, thank you to whoever voted for Team Crew. We love you.
Yeah.
It's good. 1-3. Yeah, cool. So we're gonna again move swiftly.
Come on, Team Cast. Come on.
God, now we're Rick and Morty. Good. Okay.
Oh, no.
So next up we have Charlie and Mary and Gaz. So Mary will be starting the story, and Mary's suggestion this time is the 3 little men in the woods.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah, give me a sec. I'll just get the timer ready. Okay, and actually put you on screen because currently you are just your pictures. Cool. Okay, Mary, your suggestion was the 3 little men in the woods. So when you're ready, 3, 2, 1, go.
Once upon a time, there were 3 little men who lived in the woods. And when I say little, I mean absolutely tiny. Each of them were only about 2 feet tall. But they got around this by occasionally they would stack themselves up in a rather large trench coat so they could go into town and do their shopping without arousing the suspicion of the general public. Now, one day there were some little children from the village who decided that they would go into the woods. And they went off. Yes.
The little children were all about 6 foot tall.
yes, these little children who were not so little went off into the woods, making sure not to bash their heads on any of the branches of the trees, because the little men were, even when they stacked up, they did have the problem of their arms being rather short, so they did have a bit of difficulty cutting all the low-hanging branches. So these 6-foot-tall children went off into the woods with their picnic for the day, and they followed the path, and eventually they came across a rather small house. And they thought it would be funny, of course, to try and cram their rather large bodies into this rather tiny house. So they opened the door, which was kept unlocked because the little men weren't used to having visitors. And they stuck their heads into the doorway and were met by the sight of these 3 absolutely tiny men.
Who were completely naked and screaming.
1 minute 30 seconds.
And obviously the children weren't expecting to be met by the sight of 3 tiny naked men, so they were trying to backpedal out of the house as quickly as possible. But the one who had his head all the way into the hallway got his ears caught on the door frame, and so his friends had grabbed him by the legs and were trying desperately to yank him out. And obviously, it's such a small house, it's kind of hard to get sturdy building materials. So as they did, the front doorway of the house completely crumbled around them. And the 3 tiny men were scrambling, trying to find some clothes to put on to go out and confront these giant attackers. So they grabbed their trench coat and shimmied their way out the door, or what was left of it, and stood up to confront these 3 children with their tiny little fists. And the children were horrified because they had seen these 3 tiny men, and suddenly they were met by one giant man with tiny hands.
30
So
seconds.
the children decided to get on each other's shoulders and create a giant child.
Onto their shoulders they climbed, and they decided they wanted to intimidate this terrifying tiny-fisted creature. So they didn't just sit on each other's shoulders, no, they stood, making them a little under 18 feet tall. So they towered over the trees, and the local cryptid
3,
known by all in the village now.
1.
And they all live happily ever after.
Woo! With their little fists.
Great. That was good. Okay, right, I've lost the suggestions. 1 sec. This is going well. Okay. I had one here. Oh, here we are. I've got it in my hand. That's why I can't find it. I'm holding it. It's going well. Okay, so up next, Gaz is going to tell a story, and Mary is going to interrupt. And the story is The Fish Who Flew. The Fish Who Flew. Okay, Gaz, when you're ready. 3, 2, 1, go.
Once upon a time, in a valley, there was a deep blue lake. And in that lake was one solitary fish. Legends told of fish that used to live in that lake before, but now there was just one. The only other animals were the birds that lived in the trees round the valley. And every day the little fish, whose name was Wanda, copyright, swam up to the surface of the water, stuck one little beady eye up, and looked sadly at the birds flocking. He was so lonely, all he had for comfort were his bubbles and his reflection in the water. And one day he said to himself, Wanda, I'm going to fly out of this lake if it's the last thing I do. Yeah.
So he booked himself a package holiday.
Yes, he swam to Hayes Travel, which had just opened up a new branch at the bottom of this abandoned lake. And he swam in and he said, "Can I book a holiday, please?" And they said yes. So that was that, and that was all straightforward and ticked, and it was all good. He had a passport, obviously. So he got himself in the plane. But as he was swimming around in his duty-free whiskey, sort of looking out of the window, he thought, no, this isn't really what I meant. I wanted to flap and fly. So he punched out the window of the plane in order to let a large amount of air in. And as the plane began to plummet down, he was able to leap out of the window.
1 minute
And he
20.
realized he was flying. He was finally flying.
Because he had landed on the back of a passing albatross.
He had landed on the back back of a passing albatross, which is quite hard to say if you're a small fish soaked in gin. And he thought, no, once again I've been thwarted. But then he realised that perhaps this albatross could be the answer to his problem. So he said, hey, listen, Jack, straighten up and fly right. I want to swoop around the lake that I've spent all my time in, staring sadly, and I want to soar above it. And the albatross said, okay, and he knew the exact lake that the fish meant. Just they had an intuition that only two friends caught in the plane crash can have as a bond. So the albatross, whose name was Jack, as we've just established, Jack and Wanda, swooped down over the lake, and finally Wanda was able to see what he'd always wanted. But he was touched by a hint of sadness. He actually felt he missed the lake. Up here it was so lonely, but at least down there he'd have his bubbles, and he was the only fish in the whole lake. Up here he was just another fish slowly drowning in oxygen, being out of the water. So he thanked Jack, and he rolled off the back of the albatross, landing once again in the beautiful blue pool.
That's the end. Sorry, I stopped.
The end.
Attention. My bad. Sorry to rudely interrupt.
No, it was over.
I realised I hadn't written the poll and I panicked.
Very good, very good.
I loved it.
Thank you.
Right, we're going back to the scoreboard, and I still haven't put the poll on. What am I doing? There we are. Okay, so that was Mary gathered the three little men in the woods and the fish who flew. So vote in the poll on which story you like best. No, who did it? Who wins this round? I am a professional and I can speak. Yeah. Cool. So we have Steve says coming next on Power Rangers Super Child Combo Robot.
Steve know where he is.
And Nina says I would like to formally apologise for all of my suggestions. You don't need to apologise.
No, never apologise. Never apologise.
Oh, it's currently a tie. We need more people
No
to vote.
way.
There are 7 people watching. We can't have a tie. You need to vote.
Because remember the lag.
Makes no sense mathematically.
We're just gonna sit here in awkward silence now until more people. And okay, so there was briefly a lead, and then it's a tie again.
Oh.
Someone's trying to help, but someone's also trying to help in the other direction.
Yeah. We haven't thought of what we're gonna do if there's a tie.
Oh, don't worry. Martin, remember, even if we give both teams a point, it doesn't matter.
Nina says, in that case, I take it back. Get wrecked. Oh, and Steve can't use the poll for some reason. Steve, there might be a purple button near the emojis. I'm going to put it back on the group now. I think we've got to the boring scoreboard screen enough. We're a lot more.
Look at us. We're good looking.
I'm going to leave it for another few seconds so that they can catch up with where we are.
Vote.
Vote now.
The young vote.
Okay, out of the 6 people watching, I've got 5 people, so I'm calling it now before anyone
Quick.
else.
Oh god, yeah, it's not just like this.
Okay, so it's close. There's 1 vote in it, and the winner is Mary with Team Cast 3-2.
Very nice work.
Just very close. Thank you all for voting. Eventually.
Well played, guys.
Yeah, well played both. That was good. Unfortunately for you guys, it means you have to listen to me for longer, because me and Matt are up next. Yeah. And neither of our cameras are positioned very well for the stream.
It's Martin. Is this the final round?
This is the final round. This is round 6. Unless we have a tiebreaker. One second. I'm trying to figure out where I should be on the camera. There we go. If I don't move, it's fine. Okay, we have round 6. Okay, Matt's telling the story first.
Yeah.
Your suggestion is
Hit me.
Tinderella and the Catfishing Sisters. I'm gonna lose.
All right then.
I still can't figure out where I should be. This way? No, this way. There we go. Okay, Matt, when you're ready, 3,
Yep.
2, 1, go.
Ella was a lonely woman. She lived on her own, and all throughout her life she was seeking more. She was seeking companionship, but she wasn't into the conventional sort of male-female heterosexual relationships that were most prevalent in the old times and less enlightened times. No, what she wanted, what she really dreamed of, was to be in a functioning polyamorous relationship with 2 other women. So, there was no real way to meet 2 other women in the town where Ella came from. They were quite old-fashioned themselves, and speed dating hadn't really hit them yet. So what Ella did, her one true talent was computer programming.
So she programmed a dating app that runs through LinkedIn.
Because she was a professional woman, was Ella, and she wanted people who were committed to their careers as well as to finding love. So she created this LinkedIn kind of, she was going to call it Tinder, but then she had LinkedIn as well, so she called it LinkedInder. And she developed an app for it. And she spent all of her days, when she wasn't developing her computer programming career, because that was very important to her, all her days swiping to see if she could find 2 women who'd gone on to LinkedIn who were looking for a similarly professional woman to start a trio polyamorous relationship with. And she found 2. She found them, and they were perfect. They were everything she wanted. They chatted, they talked, they exchanged photographs with each other in fields.
And the women were Anne Hathaway and Nicki Minaj. And you have 1 minute and 30 seconds.
By sheer coincidence, 2 of Ella's favourite celebrities. Kate Winslet, it seems, wasn't into the whole LinkedIn thing. And this was incredible. Ella couldn't believe her luck. Nicki Minaj and Anne Hathaway, her 2 favourite celebrities, wanted a relationship with her. And finally, the day arrived. They'd set up their first face-to-face meeting. They stepped into the cafe, the 2 women, and Ella looked up from her table and was horrified.
There was a swarm of bees.
In a trench coat, and next to another swarm of bees in a trench coat. They came and sat down opposite her, and Ellen was at once impressed by their coordination, but also terrified of the fact that she had been catfished. She tore open the trench coats, and the hives were there like beating hearts. And she tore open the hives, and the queens were sitting inside saying, "Oh, we're sisters, don't you know? We've been fooling people with this, the old..." Yeah.
And they offered her honey to enter the polyamorous relationship with them.
Because despite catfishing Ella into thinking that they were Nicki Minaj and Anne Hathaway, the 2 celebrities who coincidentally look the most like 2 swarms of bees in trench coats, they did actually want a relationship with Ella. They'd seen that she was the one they wanted, but Ella said, "No, I will not be tricked like that." She went away and she lived an independent life because she didn't need anybody but herself, and she lived happily ever after.
Well, that's also, I'm not getting Tinder.
Get LinkedIn though, yeah?
Yeah.
LinkedIn there. Maybe we should patent it.
For the hard-working professional lover.
And beads.
Next suggestion, just to prove that I have been pulling them out of the hat. Here's the hat that you've not seen before now. Oh, Steve says he has no purples, but he did before. I'm sorry, but at least you voted in the comment. So Gaz now knows who to hunt down as well. Right, okay. I don't know why I'm just doing this. Right, okay. I swear I didn't pick this. I wasn't looking while I was doing it. I just absent-mindedly shuffling. Okay, the suggestion is the man who lived in a sponge.
These are so... I'm loving these suggestions. I'm loving them.
Okay, me. When you're ready. I'm trying to get back in shot again before I change things. This is really hard now. I've gone too far again. Why am I so off-center? I set this up. There we go. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh, who lives in a sponge under the sea? A man called Steve.
Copyright infringement.
Okay, so there was this man called Steve who lived under the sea in a sponge. He decided to live in said sponge because the sponge absorbed all the water and allowed a porous air pocket for him to exist in and cohabitate with fish. He loved fish. Fish were his life. All types of fish. Pufferfish, jellyfish. I'm just listing lots of animals in this. Yes, Matt.
except one fish called Gary, who was the nemesis of the man who lived in a sponge.
Steve hated Gary. Everything about Gary. Gary was annoying. Gary came over for tea uninvited. Gary ate all of the cookies at parties without asking if he was allowed the cookies. So one day Steve decided that he would lock his sponge with doors. Unfortunately for Steve, Gary was very small and there were many holes in the sponge and he didn't fill all of the holes. And so Gary broke in to the sponge where Steve lived. Yes, Matt.
So Steve hired a squad of bodyguards.
And those bodyguards were pufferfish because they live under the sea. Unfortunately, pufferfish's bodyguards are really ineffective because unless they feel threatened, they do not explode into a ball of spikes. 1 minute 30 seconds, man. And so Gary was able to slip by the pufferfish relatively unharmed, except for the last one who he poked by accident. Except for all that it did was fill one of the remaining holes in the sponge, limiting Gary's escape options should he wish to escape later in the story. Foreshadowing. Gary found Steve lying asleep in his bed and said, "What up, Steve? How's it hanging? I'm a fish." And Steve, in terror, screamed at Gary. Yes?
I'm going to engage you in hand-to-hand combat.
1 minute. He's going to engage him in hand-to-hand combat. And Gary said, "Hold on a second, Steve. I'm a fish. I don't have hands. I have fins." And proceeded to fin slap him in the face. Steve was confused because he thought Gary liked him. It turns out Gary was just coming round to annoy him because Gary also hated Steve. In a rage, Steve pulled out a pufferfish spike that he kept under his bed 30 seconds and started to chase Gary around the sponge, but Gary couldn't find a way to escape. There were too many pufferfish, and the one hole he came through was now blocked by a pufferfish that he had previously spooked. It was a mistake. 15 seconds. Yes.
The ceiling was ripped off and Poseidon, the Lord of the Sea, peered down into the sponge.
And he went, "Steve, you should not exist here. You are a landlubber." And he picked him up and tossed him to land using Poseidon's magical powers. 3 seconds. Because of the magical powers, Steve landed safely and lived happily ever after on the sea, on the land, wondering whether he would ever return to his sponge. He did not. But he still was happy, bro.
Yeah.
Sorry, I overran a bit there. Okay, so
I
that
think
was
that's the
the end
fastest
of...
I've ever heard you speak.
I panicked. I did panic. Okay, just a reminder of the scoreboard. It is currently 3-2. And I should probably publish the poll so that you can vote on who won that round. Was it Matt's story or my story? Team cast or team crew? Vote away. Matt is super excited right now. He is laughing his whole face off. You can't see it. I'm going to put him on the screen. It's adorable. There you go. He's bobbing. He's a bobbin.
The bobbin boy.
I'm a lot more trepidatious. Okay, while we're doing this, Steve says, "I want someone to coin hashtag
LinkedIn.
Yeah, linked Ingle to mingle."
I like that.
Yeah, it's
Hey
good.
there, ladies. I'm single and linked Ingle to mingle.
And Nina says, "It feels like Martin has a personal vendetta against Gary. Hope you're okay, buddy." Gary!
Do you know a Gary?
Oh, that story's past.
Yeah, you know which Gary we're talking about here.
Gary. Okay, so there are 9 people, and 4 people have voted.
How is this happening?
And I'm waiting just in case anyone else votes because it's close.
Come on, guys, vote. I'll take off my... I won't...
No, Josh, no, you won't do that. We've had this discussion.
I'm sorry. I'm
John
just...
Cooper. Right, okay. I think that's enough time for people to vote. I'm gonna put a react to Nina's post because it's funny. Right, and Steve. Cool. There we go. Okay, the results are in. And unfortunately for Team Cast, they won, so we have to do another round.
Oh,
Obviously,
penalties!
Gary was voting because otherwise, clearly, I would have won.
What was the vote split?
It was 3-1 to you. I'm personally offended, audience.
Hello, personally offended audience. I'm Dad.
Okay. So now we have to do the tiebreak round. I'm just going to put the score on the screen because the score is not on the group screen. So it's 3-3 right now. If anyone's watching and is now like, God, I'm tired of this. Well, there's 10 of you watching, and it is now your fault for making it.
Don't blame the audience.
Okay, so the game we're playing now is we're collectively telling a story. How dangerous is that? Each person is going to be given a genre, and unfortunately, I'm also going to be doing a genre because we were suggested conveniently 6 genres from the audience. And I'm going to also have to be well, unless somebody else would like to be the one to say who would change genre.
What about we just do it sentence by sentence instead?
Do it sentence by sentence.
Sentence by sentence.
Okay, so let's see. We have a couple of similar genres, but we're going to go for it. Okay, so Josh, you are doing a musical comedy.
Oh wow! Yes.
You bastards!
And it actually says afterwards in brackets, "Sing to me." So you got to do it in song, man.
Fine.
Okay. To add to this, Mary, you're doing a musical horror.
Oh, that's good. That's perfect.
Okay, I actually didn't read this because one of these suggestions is not a genre. Okay, Matt, interpret this how you wish. The Lion, the Witch, and the Washing Machine as a genre.
All right. Yep. Okay.
Okay. So, Gaz, you're doing a psycho thriller.
That's good say.
And Joe, you are doing a spy rom-com.
All right.
And I am doing space.
Yeah.
I know to mean sci-fi, but I may just yell space every time a character says anything.
So he's just like the clip of Tim Curry, like, space!
Space. There's lots of different spaces. There's the Portal 2 space, and there's also space. Right, okay. We have a few more suggestions. So before we do the last one, I'm going to read out some of the suggestions that we haven't done. So the first one is the guy who bakes the Eat Me shrinking cakes from Alice in Wonderland, The Untold Story. The sequel, the guy who brews drink me potions falls in love with the Eat Me baker. I think that was a Nina one. Another one, also from Nina, The Cat and the Faulty Fax Machine. The sequel, they fixed the fax machine, but the cat died. The Lion, the Witch, and Spam, Egg, and Spam. We also have Snow White and the Wonder Dwarf. The Little Mermaid 2, Too Little, Too Mermaid. The Lion, the Witch, and the Second Lion. That was from John. The Magic Cactus. That was from Mary. The Cat Who Opened a Cafe, also from Mary. Which leaves one final suggestion.
Martin,
Also from me.
Martin, before we read that out, should we just establish the order of sentences that we're going in?
Okay, we're going to go with the order that is on my screen. So we're going to open with Matt, followed by Gaz, then Joe, then me. Oh no, this is going to be the musical people too close together. We're going down. Okay, so it's going to be Matt, Gaz, Mary, me, Joe, Josh. You got that?
Okay.
Is everyone in the audience following? I hope so. I haven't actually put us back on the screen. It's just been the scoreboard for an awkwardly long period of time. Also, this segment features the green bar on Matt's ceiling. It's back. Okay, so we are doing The Prince and the Platypus. We're starting with Matt. Do you want me to say the next person's name for the first round so we know who's saying which?
Yeah, good plan. Hang on. The Lion, the Witch, and the Washing Machine. Was that my genre?
That was your genre.
Right, so it's fantasy crossed with an instruction manual.
Yeah, so I'm going to put a timer on the screen for I've lost
6. Do a full round.
6 minutes. Good
6 minutes.
idea. Okay, so we've got 6 minutes. Okay, so that will be on the screen soon. Okay, right. Okay, Matt, when you're ready.
What was it? The Prince and the Platypus?
Prince and the Platypus. The Prince and the Platypus. My sister says, I'm ready for my musical comedy, Josh. Sing to me.
I feel like I'm just a dancing puppet. You just bring me out whenever is needed.
Dance,
Oh.
puppet, dance. Okay, first puppet, Matt. Right, 3, 2, 1, go.
Once upon a time, in a mystical land far, far away, across the mountains and the foothills drenched in mist, there lived a lonesome prince in a castle. The castle was constructed by 4x10 brimstone bricks, cemented together with mortar. It was approximately 48 meters in width and 62 meters in length. The turrets were approximately 18 meters high and flanked with slits for arrows and a giant portcullis to prevent intruders from entering.
Kaz.
In the highest tower, there was a bathroom. Slowly walking towards the bathroom, you pull back the shower curtain, and there is a platypus washing itself.
Mary.
Spooky music. The lights, like that. The lights go out. The platypus is plunged into darkness.
By a flux capacitor, which causes it to travel through time and also apparently space. That's definitely how that piece of technology works. Onto the moon! Space! Joe.
And on the moon was James Bond, and goodness gracious, that platypus was bloody randy.
Well, the platypus, he was not feeling particularly good about the situation that he found himself in. He got a bit worried by everything around him and got ready to sing with all of his friends up there on the moon.
The moon was a desolate surface covered in a thin layer of electromagnetic dust which clung to everything that touched it. Bond pulled out his Walther PPK, which was a tight, compact weapon allowing bullets to spray out of it at a speed of approximately 450 feet per second, easily blasting through any enemy that approached him. He approached the platypus and said, "Are you friend or foe?"
And the platypus turned with a huge knife in his hand and he said, "Does this answer your question?" And he went, just like that. And he went to stab Bond with his big bloody knife.
Mary.
And Bond fell. Bond fell. Thank you so much. I've never seen a musical horror. Bond fell, drenched in blood, and the platypus cackled.
But they were in space now.
No, Martin, you have to do more than that.
I was getting there. You have such little faith in me. But because it was in space, neither the platypus or Bond could breathe any longer and started to freeze and expand. And luckily, the platypus used its teleportation device to take them back to the castle, bringing Bond with it by accident.
And who should be there but Jason Bourne, who made them both bloody randy.
Drum solo!
No.
Now it's Matt's turn.
The prince, hearing the ruckus of two randy agents and an expanding platypus, burst forth from his own quarters, demanding to know, what is the meaning of this interruption? His voice echoed at a decibel rate of about 4.2, and the acoustics of the surrounding walls meant that the people in the corridor heard the echo approximately 3 times before it faded to below the level of human hearing.
And there was storms crackling in the windows and everything was in black and white and everyone was going, ah! Ah! And looking really shocked and not really happy at all.
Mary?
She's back.
Excuse the dust sound. Don't go away.
Do we lose Zach?
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot what just happened. The crowd were confused and scared because the platypus pulled out a ray gun and shot them all.
And then who should appear but the man from Uncle, and they all got Ruddy Randy.
The man from Uncle, he was mean. Everyone, they weren't clean because of all the action they'd been in. But this old man who's singing this song was wondering how much longer we'd go on until we got tired of this shtick.
30 seconds left, quickfire round. Matt, go.
Suddenly, the platypus and the prince's eyes met, and they realised that this was the person they were destined to spend their lives with. Life is defined as the amount of time that one lives.
The knife clattered to the floor dramatically in a dramatic way.
Mary.
The dramatic music swelled as the prince and platypus saw eye to eye.
Me. Oh, the platypus killed the prince with technology. Joe.
Then they all had sex with spies.
Joe, take us out.
Oh, yeah! My earphones came out.
Oh no!
I need to put them back in.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
I have no
And we're
idea
back.
how we're going to get the audience to pick who won, so maybe
That
we
was
should
it.
just say
But
we
there is
all
no-
won. Yay!
Yay!
I'm actually going to put a poll.
Yeah, put a poll up.
Who won the tiebreaker? Did I spell this correctly? Who cares? It's the final round. Matt cares, so I'm going to do it really quickly before he fires me. Team cast, which was Matt, Joe, and Mary. I realise this is going to look really weird to the audience because Joe and Gaz are the wrong way round for this split. Team crew was Martin, that's me, Gaz, who I've already said, that's why I'm getting confused, and Josh with guitar.
Right.
Okay, who won the tiebreaker? That should now be on your screen, so get voting. The 10 people who are still watching.
Hey, we've retained quite a good number.
Yeah, that's really
Thanks
good.
for sticking around.
Yeah.
Ellie says, I'm really sorry that I read that as a story suggestion instead of genre. It's okay. It worked.
Don't worry, Ellie. No worries. We worked with it. We're cool.
It adds to the chaos. And Nina says, you may be a dancing puppet, Josh, but you're pretty well sewn. Very well sewn.
Aww, that's very sweet.
Says, Bloody Randy.
Yeah, Joe, I think your only role in that story was to introduce a spy and say the words "Bloody Randy."
Yes, I assume that's the content of most spy thriller rom-coms.
You're actually
A spy turns up and they all get Bloody Randy.
Yeah.
He's just not very good at improv.
Oh, that hurt my feelings.
And Steve says, Society won from Randy murderous people being removed from the local moon area. Do you mean Team Cast?
Better than one did.
Just so you did.
And Nina says, I may only be saying this because there's a storm going on there. There I am, but you all deserve thunderous applause. Winky winky.
Hey.
And my sister shares this emoji. So thank you all. Okay, so this has probably been open for a while. There's still 6 people that haven't voted, so I'll leave them a little bit longer. While we
Vote.
sat around waiting, Joe and Gaz, do you want to promote anything? Put it on your last minute.
Yeah.
Provide us content now.
Come like our Facebook page. We are putting bits of online stuff on. There's lots of online stuff already on our Facebook page, and we also have a TikTok, which has got a lot of crap on it because we're cool and young. And we have an Instagram and a Twitter, long way in the noise.
There'll be more stuff coming. We're guesting on a couple of other things.
We are actually. So yeah, there's some bits coming up. Go and have a little nosy, and it's all very odd. Just go and while away the lockdown hours.
Yeah, well, there's at least 3 live streams you can watch on our back on our of our old shows and a few other random videos as well.
All of the social media stuff for everyone involved in the show will be on the screen at the end, if I remember.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
See, we don't have anything this good.
No.
We don't have people who do things that are good for the quality of our productions. We just put a laptop on. So Anything you find on our page is a massive step down from there.
What's particularly not good is Charlie's marketing skills.
Yeah,
You might still be great at the time. Also,
Do you ever think,
kill a
look, yes,
celebrity
we're
couple
awful. You
refraction.
should hate her, apparently.
Oh, he caught long boy in the nose.
Okay, I'm closing the poll. I think it's been long enough. Okay, drum roll, please. Okay, with a landslide victory of 3-1, the winners were, and I swear no bias, Team Pro!
Yes!
Well done.
Team Crew!
It never happens.
This is the first.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
right, okay. We will take you to the way out of the show. There's a tiny little mat on the screen, and he is gonna thank you for watching.
Am I doing that now?
Yeah, do that now.
Oh, well, to those of you still watching, thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. We do hope you enjoyed yourselves. Thank you for voting. Thank you for suggesting. It means a tremendous amount. On a slightly more admin note, if you would like to get more involved with improv, especially in and around Sheffield post lockdown when we're eventually let out, then the best place to go for all the information is to check out the Sheffield Improv Jam. They regularly post about everything that's going on improv-wise in Sheffield. Beyond that, nothing more to say except stay safe, stay smiling. Thank you so much for joining us, and stay tuned because Foolish Bandits will be back with a brand new series very soon. So keep an eye out for us posting about that.
And if there's anything you'd like to see us perform, let us know. And then very quickly, thank you, Jess, Grace, Seri, that's Josh, Nina, James, Munro, Steve, Jess again apparently, Grace, Ellie, Tom McGrath. Did I miss anyone? I don't think so. Thank you all for giving suggestions of genres and fairy tales for us to perform, particularly Nina, who gave us a staggering about 20 amount. Apologies for not performing more of them. Yeah,
Thank you to Longboy and the Noise for joining us for this live stream episode.
Thanks for having us. Sorry. We always say sorry when we're guests.
Charlie always says sorry. We had a lot of fun,
We did
and
have a
we
lot of
hope
fun.
we earned our keep.
Thank you.
And it's particularly helpful because at the moment we're not making any of our own content, so all guest stars really help us maintain our online presence.
Yeah,
We
thank
love
you
you
for watching.
guys.
Oh, and thank you for joining. And Ellie says, well done, guys. This was top. Thank you, Ellie.
All right.
Yeah, right.
I think it's time for thank you and good night then.
It is. Thank you all. Good night.
Bye.
Have a